Hey everybody, Patton here. I just wanted to touch on something that I missed on my first PlayStation Classic hacking video, and that involves running games with multi-discs. Now, there's two different types of games that fit this category. There's the games that are like rival schools, which have two discs, but they don't go into each other. And by that I mean the first disc doesn't continue into the second disc, they are separate discs. I believe for that game you have one disc for the arcade mode and a second disc for the story mode. So when you're working with a game like Rival Schools, you will have each of those discs in its separate folder like 1 and 2 here. You would put the first disc into 1 and follow through the same way you would a normal game, and then the second disc into its second folder. For multi-disc games that do continue onto the second or third disc, such as Metal Gear Solid or Final Fantasy VIII, games like that, things are a little bit different. You have to do a little bit extra work. So here in this folder we have Metal Gear Solid. It's not the actual game, these are just the placeholder files that came with Bleemsync. But you see here we have two sets of bin and queue files. This set right here is for the first disc, and this set right here is for the second disc. There's not a lot different you have to do with multi-disc games in terms of what you do in the game data folder. The bin and queue have to be named the same, with the queue pointing to each bin. So inside this queue points to this bin, and the same with this queue. It'll point to this bin. The PNG file, as far as I know, can be named the same as either queue file and it should work. The one biggest difference you need to take into account with multi-disc games is the game INI file. More specifically, the discs column right here. In the discs column, you have to list each queue file and separate them with a comma. So for our example with Metal Gear Solid here, we have our first queue right here with a comma, and our second queue right there. Everything else is the same: the name, the publisher, number of players, and year. If you have a game like Final Fantasy VIII where it's 4 discs, you would continue on. You'd put a comma, a third queue, another comma, and a fourth queue after that. So really not much different, just making sure that this discs column is done correctly. More than likely with Bleemsync version 1.0 just around the corner, this tutorial isn't going to be useful for very long. But I wanted to get it out anyway because we've been getting a lot of questions about how to run multi-disc games, and I didn't really cover that very much on my initial tutorial video. But that's it. You do everything pretty much the same. Make sure your bin and queues are pointing to each other, and you edit that INI file. So I hope this clarifies some things for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.